Hello and welcome to the Tiny Human Knits podcast, my podcast about knitting, sewing, crochet, cross stitch, and all manner of crafty goodness. My name is Laura and I'm coming to you from High Level, Alberta, Canada, where I live with my husband and our two pets, our cat named Shrimp and our bunny named Oscar. We recently relocated to a new house, so my background is super not organized yet. We threw out a bunch of furniture when we moved just because it was cheap to begin with and had been moved so often, taken apart and put back together, that it's kind of falling apart. And so we'll be going to IKEA when we go into Edmonton this week, and we'll be picking up some new shelving, which I'm really excited about because I'll finally have enough shelving for all of my stuff and I'll have a good background. So we bought a townhouse inside the town of High Level, and that's why it's been an extra week since my last podcast, because we have been busy. We moved in not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before that. And it took 2 days to move in because stuff, and it had snowed 7 inches the day before we moved, approximately. And yeah, I painted the entire house already since then. Everything except our stairwell. Our stairwell is not painted yet because it has a 15-foot high wall, and I am not doing that. I did the rest of the house, so I don't have to do it. But I get 2 new offices again, same as our last house, and I've been here about a week and a half, and I already feel like the vibes in this house are way better than our old house. It's a lot smaller, so everything's a lot more sort of easy to get around. I don't like big houses because it takes forever to get anywhere. And but no, I'm really enjoying it. I will do a bit of a tour of our house once we get enough furniture to sort of unpack the boxes that we have. I did take a little bit of footage when we were moving out of our old house that I might put at the end if I haven't deleted it, because I have a tendency to do that, which I'm not sure where it comes from. And I'll put that at the end so you can see what the old house looked like, and then yeah, I'm hoping to get this all sorted really quickly. Anyway, you can find me online as Tiny Human Knits on Instagram and Ravelry, and we have a Ravelry group for the podcast under the Tiny Human Knits podcast in the groups tab. My kitty is coming to join me. She's not going to be yelling like last time. She's over her in heat thing. What are you doing, kitty? I've made a bit of a maze in here just because there's so much stuff on the floor and I didn't want it to all be showing. And I also have an Etsy shop called Tiny Human Knits, which just got a big update last night. Some yarn and some bags, and by some bags I mean a lot of bags. They're my new sock size bags, and I'll be showing a bit of those at the end. And yeah, I think that's everything. We still have the Make From Stashalong going on in the Ravelry group. Give me a second. Kitty, you gotta be quiet. This is her favorite type of bag to sit in case you're wondering. Right, Kitty? Should we put this bag away? Yeah, we're gonna put this bag away. But yeah, we're still hosting the Make From Stashalong, and I have decided to carry it on till the end of the year, just because I'd like to see my progress in what I end up making through the year, how much stash I end up using. I haven't been adding too much to my stash. There's a little bit, but it's not as much as last year for sure. And yeah, you can check that out. I'll put links for everything down below, and that's where I keep all my show notes as well. So if I mention something on the podcast, the likely link will be over down below. So yeah, I hope everyone's been doing all right. I've been having, like I said, a very busy time. I think my tiredness is finally catching up to me. I spent 2 days moving and thoroughly cleaning our old house, as well as cleaning the new house we moved in. It's not too bad when we moved in though, so it wasn't too strenuous. But also I painted, as I said, it took me 3.5 days to paint the entire house. We picked out our colors. My husband picked the main color of the house. It's a very creamy sort of off-white color, which I actually really like, and it brightens up the house a lot. And I picked a sort of pinky beige. because I put so much stuff on the walls that I don't want to have any sort of like darker colors. But yeah, that took a couple days, and then I started sewing. I sewed, I think I counted 62 project bags in the last 4 days. They're my sock size, so they're a bit smaller, and they're not too strenuous on me, but it was a lot of sewing. But it's kind of, I'm a very focused person, so it's really easy for me to do stuff like that. But I should get into knitting stuff. What I'm wearing is my So Faded, knit entirely out of Yarning Apart yarns, and I love it. It's been a while since I wore it, just because I've been like doing stuff that I didn't want to get it dirty. It's all out of Yarning Apart, and I think I want to make another one of these because it fits so well and it looks so nice. I just have to figure out what colors I want to make it out of. But yeah, so all of my projects have a Ravelry project page. I will link my Ravelry page in the show notes as well. I make a Ravelry page for everything, except for, like, you know, if I was making dishcloths or something like that. But I make one for everything. So if you're ever wondering what kind of yarn I use, what size needle, it'll all be on my Ravelry page. And yeah, that's how I'm keeping track of everything these days. So that is what I'm wearing. I only have 2 finished objects this week. I have honestly not knit more than an inch on anything in the last few weeks, just because I've been so busy. So the amount of finished objects is a little bit lower than normal, and it'll probably continue to be that way over the summer as well. I start my seasonal job in about a week and a half, and with keeping up the shop now, I want to be a little bit more regular about it. It won't be as finished object heavy as it has been. But my first finished object is the second baby tee. I can't remember the designer's name, and I don't know where I put the pattern, so I'll just put it on the screen here. But the second baby tee that I'm knitting for my twin nephews. I'm pretty sure this is the second one. And I just did the exact same thing I did for the first one, and I will show you the first one. So if you remember, this was the first one. So they're matchy-matchy. And so soft. I love this yarn. This is knit out of my own hand-dyed yarns. This is Swamp Monster on the top, and then the contrast on this is Dark Mark, and then it's just reversed for the second one. And I only used 2 skeins of fingering weight yarn for both of these. So with the reversal of colors, I ended up using most of 2 skeins. Oh, I actually think I have the leftovers here. Got the leftovers of 1. So this is all I had left of Dark Mark. Oh, here we go. And this is all I had left of Swamp Monster. So the tiniest bit of leftovers. So it's a really good, for me, I don't like having a lot of leftovers, so it was really great for that. And I'm so excited. I get to see my nephews on Friday. We're going to my sister's house for lunch, and I'm going to give these to them. They're 2 years old. Their names are Arthur and Merlin. And I'm still not sure whose is going to be whose, just because my sister, since the twins were born, they're fraternal, but they look exactly the same to me. As someone who doesn't get to see them very often, I don't get to see their personalities as much. I hear about them, but my sister, to identify one from the other, she would dress Merlin in darker colors and Arthur in lighter colors. And so, but the way these knit up, I don't know which one she would consider the lighter or the darker. I personally would go with the top, the first bit of contrast, or the main color. But we shall see. But I definitely will post some pictures on Instagram of them wearing them. Hopefully they fit. And yeah, I'm really excited just because I've had these for quite a long time before giving them, and I usually give things a little bit faster than that, but I'm really excited. But they're super soft and super cute. I love them so much. But yeah, that one is my first finished object. And my second finished object is a hat. I actually cast this on the night, I think right after I posted my last podcast. And if you remember my last episode, I was talking about how I had leftovers of some yarning apart yarns. It was house sparrow, wet speckle, dry speckle. Which one was it? Oh, now I won't be able to remember. I think it was house sparrow wet speckle, which is this little tiny ball right here. And then also Spill Ink, which is this one right here. These are both yarning apart yarns that are in what I'm wearing, actually. It's the first two colors. And I love the way they look together. When I was blending this together, I absolutely adored the section that I was sort of fading this color, the first Spill Ink, into the house sparrow. And I had so much left over that I thought I really wanted to make myself a hat holding the two yarns together. And I had been binge watching a lot of Legacy Fiber Arts YouTube videos, and the Christmas one where Sue was knitting the quadri hat by Michelle Wong, I think she was making like 9 of them, but it's such a pretty pattern that I decided that was the one I wanted to make because it was knit out of worsted, so I was just going to hold the two strands together. So I cast on immediately, and here it is, and I love it. It is so pretty. I would put it on for you, but I have my hair up and that would look terrible. But yeah, so I held it, 2 strands held together, and I'm pretty sure the pattern calls for a 5mm and I went down to a 4.5. I'm pretty sure. Again, that'll be on my Ravelry project page. And I also, because I was going down a needle size, I went I went and knit the larger pattern size because it does have the two sizes, small, medium, and medium large. And I do like a little bit more of a fitted hat when it comes to thicker weights. I like fingering weight slouchy hats, and if it's a DK or worsted, I like a little bit more of a like more beanie style. But it has gorgeous cables and some eyelet detail and some, I think, seed stitch, and I love the way the colors went together. I wore this the entire time we were moving out of our old house because it was quite cold that day and lots of snow on the ground, and I was so happy that I had made it because I have other hats but they don't fit quite as well and they're not as wearable. I have one hat that's made out of Patton's classic wool, and it does have a tendency to make my forehead really itchy, and I have a really dry forehead, so it just makes it look like I've got like flakes all over my head. So this was really nice because it's nice and soft. It's made out of superwash merino, and I really, really love it. I really love it. I finished the day after my last podcast, so it took me just like less than a day to make, so it was really, really nice. And this hat pattern I would absolutely 100% recommend to anyone. It is gorgeous. So those are my finished objects. Only the 2, again, hopefully. We're going to Edmonton, we're leaving tomorrow, so I should have lots of time. That's kind of why I've been putting off knitting a little bit, just because I know I'm going to have a lot of time then, so I'm not using up the time I have before I have it. But my works in progress are actually the same as last week, I think, except for one new one, I think. Yes, I hadn't had this cast on. I called it something entirely different, like autumn leaves or some weird thing like that, but I have another nephew named Eric. That's my, I've got 2 sisters. My one sister has twins and the other one has one little boy. And he's 4 years old, except he's very tall and slender. My family makes very tall, skinny babies. But I wanted him to have a sweater as well, because it's been a while since I made him one, and I picked the Sweet Maple sweater by Nordic Knits. And this pattern, I believe, just became available on Ravelry. And so I had some acrylic yarn that I had bought from Michael's quite a while ago. It was an acrylic tweed. And the way this pattern is knit, it's very similar to my Silly pattern, where you cast on in the center. It's 2 panels, same as that. So you join them together when you're done both of them. This is the first panel. So you cast on the center stitches and then join in the round and then work in the round until you get the right size that you need. And this one I've cast off or bound off the collar stitches that you do, and then it's just, I've got my sleeve stitches on hold, and then I'll join the side seams and then pick up these stitches again, the live stitches, for the bottom hem. I'm not sure, now that I'm looking at it, I'm hoping it'll fit him. I did the age 5 to 6 pattern, but again, he's a rather large kid. He's quite tall, so I might end up knitting it a little bit longer than the pattern calls for, doing a little bit more rib than it says to do, so that'll actually fit him. That was my first panel, and I'm just working on the second panel right now. This is just on my needles. So I just need to do about 10 more rows with my increases, and then some of the ribbing. Losing my mind here. And yeah, so, and then I'll just do the sleeves, and I might actually leave the sleeves till I see him, just so I know how long to do them. I don't know if I want it to be sort of a spring-fall thing or to be a proper winter garment. I'll have to ask my sister. But it's really easy, it's really fun, and I'm really enjoying it. I do like the style just because the beginning goes so quickly because there's so few stitches on the needles that it feels like you're making a lot more progress than you actually are. But kid stuff is so fun, and I've been making these projects for Tommy of, Squirrel Pie Productions, and she's been running a kid along for on her channel. Sorry. Ugh. She's been running the kid along on her channel because she is pregnant with her first child, so she wanted people to make some kids garments, so I thought that was perfect timing to make some for my nephews. So yeah, this yarn is just like the cheap, you can buy this yarn at Michael's when they have like the 1 pound packs that they do, sort of like, usually around Christmas time, they'll have a bunch of these for sale. And I just really like this color, and I really like tweed, so I thought I'd get that for him. And I think it'll look really cute. He is pale and blonde and blue-eyed, because all my nephews are like that apparently. I don't know if you know, but Mennonites are usually Dutch, so blonde and blue-eyed is a pretty common sort of descriptor. My, where did I put it? Oh, right here. My second work in progress is the pair of socks I'm knitting for my husband. And I'm knitting these out of the Patton's Croy gray-brown marl. And I have a pair of socks of these for myself, and I love them. And I've come to the realization that I enjoy knitting socks for my husband more than I enjoy knitting socks for myself, because he wears socks every single day and they seem to fit him better. I think I need to adjust the pattern for myself a little bit, just so they fit a little bit better. Or I need to start using yarn like Patton's Croy a little bit more often, just because I do enjoy the thicker, woollier yarn better than the sort of softer merino style wool. And so I've just been knitting this into a big long tube. We were out shopping the other day, and I had brought this with me to knit on while we were doing that, and I realized I didn't have a measuring tape, and I didn't want to bother trying to find one. So I decided I was just going to do an afterthought heel instead of a German short row. So I just kept knitting in a big long tube. And this is how much I've got. And I'm just about ready to start doing the ribbing. So I've just been knitting this 64 stitches on a 2.25mm needle. And yeah, I'm almost on the ribbing, and then I'll put in a heel, and then I will cast on the other sock. So it was really simple. I love this yarn. I honestly could not recommend this yarn highly enough, just because it does knit up so nicely and it feels great. It feels woolly and soft, and it is superwash, I believe. So I'm almost done the first one, and I'll just be casting on the second one, and that'll be my sort of lunch break knitting and sort of in between everything else knitting, and I'm just holding that in my own project bag. Okay, my feet are falling asleep. So my last work in progress is my Vikes sweater by Caitlin Hunter of Boylan Knitworks. And this is one of those things that I've been picking up occasionally, working on a little bit, and then I haven't really made a huge ton of progress just because I have, again, been so busy. But I can't remember where I was last time. I think I was just past the last bit of color work. So I'm just working on the body. I've put my sleeve stitches on hold, and here it is. So I've got my sleeve stitches on hold, and I'm just chugging away on the body. But I think last time I might not have had the enough yarn for the rest of it, but I did dye up the color for the body, and it didn't come out quite the same. It doesn't bother me at all. I purposefully separated it by the last bit of the contrast color, so it's not right side by side, but the color that I dyed didn't turn out quite as orange as the first bit that I used. That honestly doesn't bother me. I dyed this color before I had my wild lettuce down as a repeatable colorway, so I'm not quite sure what I did with it in the first place. So again, doesn't bother me. But yeah, so this is my wild lettuce colorway, and then this is a Woolberry Fibre Co in She Sells Seashells. And I'm really enjoying it. I don't know if I'm going to knit it the full length. I would like it to be a little bit shorter just because I have a very short torso. But yeah, I've just been knitting in circles. I'm not doing the cables that are in the pattern just because I wanted it to be plain stockinette instead. So I should be able to finish this when we go on our trip, and I'm really, really excited for that because I really, really, really want to wear it, and I want to cast on a new sweater. This is probably the longest time it's taken me to knit anything like this, just because I haven't had time, and I've been trying to be okay with that just because I do have a tendency to be a bit like workaholic-y about stuff, but I'm trying to like realize, okay, it doesn't matter. You don't need to have like 5 finished objects every time you film a podcast. Tell me that and remind me of that. And that I'm holding in another project bag of my own, one of my patchwork bags, which I will have more of these coming into my shop in the next few weeks. Okay, I need to get off my phone. Okay, so I do have a few acquisitions this week. I ordered a couple skeins of yarn after well, it was right before we were about to move, and I was kind of stressed purchasing just because I really didn't want to. I was in such a bad mood right before we moved just because I hate moving. I've done it so often, I'm really sick of it. But I have 3 acquisitions. The first one is another sock set from Turtle Pearl Yarns. This is striped turtle toes. These are a Canadian dyer, and I absolutely love them. I have knit a pair of socks for my husband out of their yarn, and they're his favorite pair, and I wanted to make more, and I really love their yarn because it comes in 2 sets, so you get matching sock sets. And this one is called, I'm pretty sure it was called Brown Coats Unite, or maybe that was just their tagline on their thing. It's called Serenity according to the pattern now that or the label now that I'm seeing it, but it is a Firefly reference, and Firefly is one of my favorite shows ever. Me and my husband are very big nerds when it comes to quite a few different sort of fan things. I like to call myself a blanket nerd just because I like almost everything that has a following like that. But Firefly is one of the best shows ever. So yeah, this is their Serenity colorway, and I saw it on their Instagram and had to buy it because I need more socks for my husband. The second skein is from Mud Punch. I'm sure you all know. And this is their tag. And this is the Little Cream Soda colorway, which is also going to be a pair of socks for my husband. After he told me that he prefers striped socks, I've kind of gone a little bit striped sock crazy, or a striped yarn crazy. I'm really excited about this one because it's so fun. It's so summery, and I'm really looking forward to casting these on. But That's Mud Punch Yarns. Lots of self-striping in their shop. And the last one is from Boss Lady Yarn Co., which I have been pining after this kit, this mini skein set, for quite a while. And I finally had the funds when they did an update at the same time in correlation. And this is actually the Laura mini skein set, which I always thought was funny just because, you know, it's literally got my name on it. But these colors I absolutely adore. And I'm trying to decide if I want to make some like crazy socks or if I want to get a cream color yarn and make a sweater like the So Faded but stripes. Well, now that I say that out loud, I really want to do that. I think I'm going to do that. But do you think I should do small stripes in a pattern, or should I do big stripes and use the entire mini skein in one go? I love these colors. Love these colors. They're so pretty. But yeah, if you have an opinion, let me know. We'll see. I love these colors. So that's Boss Lady Yarn Co. Love these. I would definitely order from her again. And that is all my acquisitions. Now I can move on to my shop update because I have a lot of bags. I won't be showing them all here. I'll be showing a sampling, and then you can go onto my Etsy shop if you'd like, and you can find a lot more because I think I uploaded 65 sock size project bags yesterday. But I'll start with yarn. I don't have as much yarn as I would have liked to, but because it was the holidays, it was Easter this last weekend, the post offices in Canada are closed for like a million years whenever there's a holiday, so I didn't get all the bear yarn that I had ordered in a timely fashion. I was also supposed to get some from another company in the United States, and it's taking absolutely forever to get here, but that's neither here nor there. So I only have yarns on my Glimmer base, which is my Stellina, my silver Stellina base. They are all 70% superwash merino, 25% nylon, 5% silver Stellina. And I have them in the Warren colorway. In the Victoria. In Lulu. And my new colorway, Bullfinch. This is one that I did a baby sweater out of, and you can find that on my Instagram as well, and I absolutely adore this color. I also have a couple other new colorways. I have got, this one is called Ziggy. This is Ketchup. And I'm looking at this, and I just named it yesterday, and I actually can't remember what it's called, which is terrible of me. But it's a really nice sort of sage tonal that I really, really, really like. Love this color. I definitely want to knit something out of this color. But a sampling of the bags that I have is, and these are sock sacks, so they're perfect for 1 to 2 skein projects. 2 might be a little bit of a squeeze, but it'll still fit in just fine. Got that. There's a pretty good variety of styles of fabric. And again, if you want to see more, just check out my Etsy shop. I'll put a link down below. Oh. So there's quite a few different styles of florals, but there's also a couple of these sort of vintagey looking patterns. I've got this huge basket just full of these. And I have a tendency to steal from my own shop, so I'm trying to decide which one I want. Which is very difficult just because there are so many that I like. And again, this is just a sampling. This one is one of the ones that I'm leaning towards, but I might leave it in the shop for a little bit, see if anybody is also drawn to it. And normally I do name my project bags, but there are so many that I've just given them numbers. So again, if you see any that you like, so I think that's a good sampling. That shows all of the collections of fabric that I did purchase. So there's a lot. I've got quite a few more down here, but they're of the same sort of ilk as it were. So check that out if you so desire. I do have some mini skein sets that will be going into the shop and on some notions pouches as well. And so yeah, I've got mini skeins. I've got a new base that I want to add to the shop. I'm testing it out. We'll see how it goes. It's 100% merino, non-superwash. So I'm going to be trying that. Some mini skeins, notions pouches, and some patchwork bags, sweater size project bags. They're all sort of being prepped at the moment. I don't know if they're going to be going in until probably mid-April, just because we are going to Edmonton and I won't be able to get anything done. And also with the shop update right now, if you purchase anything tomorrow after about 2 o'clock, or maybe noon, yeah, tomorrow afternoon, it won't be shipped out until the following Thursday, just because we will be out of town. So keep that in mind when you're ordering. All right. But that is the shop update as of right now. I wish there was more, but again, the postal system is not amazing. And I actually have to go hunt down one of my packages because there's no, there's nothing saying where it went. It says it's delivered, or kind of just got rid of delivery updates, and so yeah, it's just, this town is not great for postal system. But yeah, so as far as life stuff goes, I think I pretty much explained everything that's going on. I haven't had a chance to do anything, really. It's been busy, very busy. We have a lot more to do when it comes to household updating, but we're going to take it a little bit slow. We're tentatively planning a trip to Scotland in September. I really want to go to the Perth Yarn Festival. My friend Rosie of Pixel Atlantis is a vendor there this year, which I want to go buy her yarn in person, which I think would be really fun. But so that's sort of in the works, and yeah. There's also a lot of other stuff. I don't know if anyone saw on Instagram, but Remembrance Pottery put an announcement on her Instagram of the, I'm going to be really terrible, but I'm going to forget what it's called. Not Rhinebeck event. There's a bunch of vendors that will be putting up shop updates right around the time of Rhinebeck in New York for people who can't go or just aren't going. So it's sort of like a special update. There's going to be a lot of things I think that people are putting up that won't be available anytime other than the Rhinebeck Festival. But I will put in a link where you can find more information if there is one. I think there is one. Or just a link to Remembrance Pottery's update post. Yes. And I am part of that, so in October there will be an update featuring a lot of exclusive colorways and bags and all of that fun stuff. And yeah, I've got a lot of stuff going on. I'm starting work soon, so I'll be really busy, and podcast, I'm hoping to keep it every 2 weeks. I might have to delay sometimes if I'm too busy or if I just don't have enough to talk about, but we'll see. I don't know how it will go yet, but I'm hoping it goes well. I'm hoping it's a good summer, but you know, it's gonna be very busy. That's okay. Busy is fine. But I need to go babysit my little bunny who's running around the house right now. He hasn't been let out very much just because there's been so much going on. I didn't want to step on him or have him sniffing paint. But I should go check what he's doing. And I will see you all hopefully soon, hopefully within 2 weeks. And I hope you all are having a wonderful day. I hope you had a good Easter if you celebrate, and all that fun stuff. And now that summer is coming, in my half of the world, it's been really bright and sunny and gorgeous, and I think I'm gonna go walk to the post office now and just enjoy some of that weather. So again, I hope you all are well, and thank you so much for watching. Bye!